What's everybody? What's up, everybody? It's me, your boy Ken. AKA Test Reacts. 10 Isani Suha Kaja Reacts. I am in some pain. My neck and shoulders are killing me. But I wanted to do this review when it was fresh in my mind. So I just finished watching Army of the Dead. Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, which came out on Netflix, I believe, today. Let me see. It came out a couple of days ago, so on the 21st, so 2 days ago, on Friday. So I just finished it. The movie is at a, I believe, whopping 2 hours and some change. It was pretty long, actually. It's Zack Snyder's film, directed by him, written and co-written. 2 hours and 28 minutes. 2 hours and 28 minutes, y'all. And if you can tell by my reaction, that was way too long. They could have shaved a good 45 minutes off the movie, and I would have been fine. Because let's just jump right into the review. So I'm going to break it down in what I liked about it and then what I didn't like about it, which is what I try to do in all of the review videos that I do, whether it's music or movies or TV shows, whatever. So I'm just going to try and stick to what I like and what I don't like. Let's start with what I liked about it. The cast. The cast was pretty good. There's some familiar faces. You got Dave Bautista. You got I forget his name, but he's in everything. I believe he was in The Middle. That show, The Middle. He played the dad in The Middle. I'm pretty sure. I also know him from The Gifted on Fox. And I always forget this actor's name. It's Garrett Dillahunt. Yes, Garrett Dillahunt. And he was he in The Middle? Or am I thinking of a different actor? Hold on. Just looking it up. Raising Hope, not The Middle. He played the dad in Raising Hope. Okay. Garrett Dillahunt, he has a pretty familiar face. And I would say that Omari Hardwick was in it as well. And Haruyuki Sanada was also in it, who was very, very well known in his native Japan, and also here, because he's done a lot of work. He was actually also just recently in another movie that I reviewed not too long ago, which was the Mortal Kombat reboot that I reviewed a couple weeks ago, which I will link, and he's a fantastic actor. So those would probably be the most well-known names that you would know from and Tig Notaro, of course. Tig Notaro is in it, which we're gonna talk a little bit about Tig in the whole situation with her having to shoot her scenes later. So the cast was pretty good. There was nobody in the cast that I was just like, I don't, you're annoying me. Maybe the daughter character a little bit, but for the most part, she was a well-written character. For the most part, we get decent backstory on each of our main army members, whatever you want to call them. We do get some backstory on them. It's really hard when there's an ensemble cast of like 8 people to give everybody enough I'm sorry, y'all, I'm in pain. To give someone, when you have all those characters, to give everybody equal amount of backstory. But I think for the most part, with the time allotted, they did a good job. Knowing Zack Snyder, he probably cut a lot of stuff And that there's probably like with the Justice League movie, there's probably like a 5 hour fucking version of it, which I wouldn't put it past him. Um, yeah, so the cast was good. I have no complaints about the cast. Everybody was fine. Um, I liked, for the most part, the music. There's a great scene in an elevator, um, where they play a pop song. I'm not going to tell you what pop song because I think it was just perfect. So I'm gonna, if you've watched it, you know, and if you haven't watched it, it's a great scene. And they also, at the end of the movie, used an acoustic version of Zombie, which I thought was just great. Um, so that was pretty good. The soundtrack was pretty decent. Um, I didn't love everything in it, but for the most part, it was pretty good. Um, the effects were actually, I think, my favorite part. There was a lot of practical effects. The makeup effects were really good. The blood effects were really good. Um, there was a lot of attention to detail with each zombie, because you know how you just have the main zombies, and you know some artists will put all of their energy into making them look good, and the other zombies will just have a little paint on their faces and no detail. This was not the case here. There was a lot of talent worked on this movie, because the makeup effects on every zombie that I could see was really, really good and really unique to each zombie. No zombie that I saw looked the exact same than another. And especially the detail on the king and queen zombie. Not gonna say much more about that other than there's a king and queen zombie. Um, was really, really good. So quick little synopsis without spoiling too much. Uh, some people are asked to go to Las Vegas. Las Vegas has been um, overrun by zombies, and it's its own little like zombie area, and it's been closed off to go and retrieve money that Mr. Tanaka had that was left there, because he was the owner of the casino. And so he gets a team together and they go in there to go retrieve the money. He says, if you give me the money, um, if you go get my money, you can have half of it and you can split it between you and your team members, whichever way you want. And so that's just the base premise of it. So he gets his team together and they go into basically zombie land, and they try to retrieve the money. But there's zombies everywhere, and not just normal zombies like the shamblers, as they call them. These zombies are faster, stronger. Um, they think, they feel. They communicate in their own way. Um, they're like alpha zombies, is what they were called. They're alpha zombies. So these aren't your run of the mill, like you know just nothing going on up there. From what I can see with these zombies, they're definitely not. They're definitely not how Romero probably would have wanted the zombies, because Romero has talked about how he doesn't like fast zombies. These zombies are very fast. He's also talked about how um, some of these extra added lore and mythos bothers him. But this was Zack Snyder's take on um, a series of movies that are connected but not connected at the same time. So you can take from that what you will. I think that Zack Snyder did a good job of making it Snyder-esque, including the dark colors and ambiance that he's known for. So I will say, thank God, this movie was not as dark as his other ones. I could see things, because that's the one thing about the DCEU. Everything's so freaking dark, and Snyder's stuff is so dark. I can't see what's going on. But it seems that he definitely took some time to like really make sure we could see everything, but still have his like dose of like almost neo-noir vibe that he likes to have in his movies. So thank you, Zack Snyder, that I could see the movie. So yeah, so I like the music, I like the cast, I like the effects. The effects are probably my favorite part of the whole film. Um, Now I think honestly that's it. Now let's talk about what I didn't like about the film. Now, the film was 2 hours and 28 minutes. I already complained a little bit about how um, it was way too long. If they had cut like 45 minutes off of it, I would have been fine. I felt myself getting bored. I didn't know that zombies, like an Of the Dead movie, could be boring, but I found myself getting bored oftentimes while watching the movie. And that's what would happen. It would be like I would find myself getting bored, and then something cool would happen. Like there's a great scene when they first get in there, and there's this character Chambers who's like a badass. She's a badass who has a great fight scene, but then after that, it gets boring again, and like the pacing was very weird to me. It's the same thing that I said about Justice League. I feel like there were parts missing, that uh there was some dialogue or stuff that was cut because they had to cut it down to a certain amount of time, and that some like maybe important details were left on the cutting floor. So I felt like the pacing was not great. It was not my favorite part of it. It just felt, despite it being 2 hours and 28 minutes, it felt undone in certain parts. So definitely didn't love the pacing. It could have been a lot shorter. Um, so my next complaint, I think, is that I couldn't quite figure out what the socio-political commentary that Zack Snyder was trying to make, because one of the things about the Of the Dead series, at least the original Of the Dead series, there's always a underlying political commentary about it. So in Dawn of the Dead, it was consumerism. In Night of the Living Dead, it was racism and discrimination. In Land of the Dead, it was um, classism. Even in some of the like more unrelated but related movies, like the Return of the Living Dead series is not specifically in Romero. We'll call Romeroverse, but they are connected in some ways. So even some of the later movies, like Return of the Living Dead, Rave to the Grave, has some commentary on college culture and drug culture, and how drugs are turning kids into zombies. So there's always some type of underlying socio-political commentary. I didn't quite understand what he was trying to do here. I think what he was trying to do was talk about immigration. Immigration was definitely in there. Um, Greed, and it just, I don't know. I feel like he was trying to do too much. Um, there was also some great, I would say there was some great like parodying parodying of um, the president. We don't know the president's name, but some of the quotes from the president in the film were very the Cheeto Man-esque. Um, so I did enjoy that. But once again, there didn't seem to be like a certain thing he was trying to say. The only thing I think that he was trying to talk about was uh, greed, immigration, and military um, and like military, what's that word? Corruption, like military corruption. So that was three things he was trying to talk about. What he should have done, or what I think that they've done in the past movies, that he didn't do is that he tried to fit too many socio-political commentary in one film. I think he should have focused on like the anti-immigration um, part of it and the detention center part of it, and call it a day instead of trying to focus too much on a couple things. So I feel like that messed up, that like put it didn't mess it up, it just like knocked points off of the film because it seemed like he didn't have a set direction that he was going to go, and I would have loved a set direction because that's what I expect with the Of the Dead films. Once again, this is a different director making these films. This is a different writer, so I can't expect that it's going to be, you know, Land of the Dead or Dawn of the Dead when it's, you know, it's a whole different creative doing it. So that's my complaint about that. Another thing that bothered me was the story. There were some homages to other zombie films. And I like that. But we've seen this story before. We've seen it before. And unless you're going to do this type of story and do it almost perfectly, it's like a double-edged sword, you know, then I'm not that, I don't care, you know, because I've seen this type of story done in good movies, bad movies, so movies, and it just was not done in a way that was interesting enough for me to be like, wow, this was really good. How they this little subsection of zombie films of like going into a place to retrieve money or to retrieve whatever. Like it's been done in the Resident Evil films multiple times. It's been done, like I said, in bad movies, Dead Heist. It's been done in so movies. Like I've seen it, and I actually enjoyed it more in some of those other films that I just mentioned. And I just feel like the movie could have really been great with some like subtle changes. Honestly, big changes. Like one of the changes is just like changing the story, because like even our big baddie, I knew exactly what his game was from the beginning. Like I knew because it's been done before. It's been done over and over and over and over again. Um, what Zack Snyder, I think, was trying to do was bring something new and interesting to the genre. Um, and in visuals, I think in some visuals he did, but when it came to like content of the story, I don't know. I think he missed the mark on there. Another thing that really bothered me is of course this is set in a world where this isn't reality, but like the only thing I'm gonna say is that there's a pregnant zombie. Zombies can't get pregnant. They can't. I I think that for me it was because in a way zombie films, although they're like not based in reality, they're supposed to be based in reality. We're supposed to think, oh my God, this could happen. I just don't think there's going to be some zombies with glowing eyes and a pregnant zombie. I just don't see that happening. You know, that doesn't make any sense. How would a zombie um, impregnate someone when they are dead? Um, yes, they're the living dead, but all those functions shouldn't be working. How does she still have a working reproductive function? Like how? It just doesn't make any sense. And it was to the point where it didn't make sense that it was almost laughable for me, where I'm just like, I can't take this seriously. Like, this is hilarious. I can't take this seriously. I'm not supposed to be feeling something, but the only thing I feel is annoyed because this is ridiculous. So I think that there was some overkill. Um, with trying to build this zombie world. I do think it's cool that these zombies thought and they felt pain, they felt sadness, they felt joy. Apparently they feel pleasure in some ways. I think that that's cool, you know, that the zombie who can still feel is something that has been shown in the zombie uh, theme, thematic universe, whatever you want to call it, thematic universe for ages and ages. So I do like that. The one thing that bothered me as well is the screams. So these zombies scream. They're like, ah, kind of like, they kind of sounded like um a pterodactyl or something. Like they communicate with screaming because they don't talk, but that's their way. That's their way of speaking to each other. Their and their screams are their language because there's the each scream can represent something for them. Like at some point there is a distress scream or like a sorrow scream, and people understand that, and the zombies understand that, so it's their own language. Um, but the screaming was just like a lot. It was really distracting. It was also kind of funny. I really can't take it that seriously. As I said, it's like they're screaming like banshees almost. And I see what he was trying to do there, but I did not love that. I think that he wanted to show the alphas, to differentiate the alphas from like the normal shamblers, and that's why he did that. But like I said, I just didn't find it that interesting or appealing. I found it annoying, if anything. But once again, I am also one opinion. I'm just sharing my unsolicited opinion as somebody who is a movie fan and as somebody who's a big zombie movie fan. I take in a lot of zombie media. I've seen a lot of zombie media. I love talking about it, reading about it, watching it, making lists about it. I love zombie films. Um, so I so all in all, I liked the movie. I think I'm disappointed because when I first saw the trailer, I thought, wow, this is going to be epic. This is going to be amazing. It was not. It was an okay film. Like, it was okay. It had some great things. Some of the things I mentioned, like the cast and the effects. And then I had some not great things, like the pacing and some of the artistic choices and liberties that Zack Snyder took. But ultimately, it wasn't bad. It was just okay. So now I'm just going to talk a little bit about the whole Tig Notaro situation. So Tig, she was funny. Tig's always funny. If you've seen Tig in something, you know that she is a funny person. She was green screened into the film after the fact because Chris Delia, I think his name is, he was dropped from the film because of the accusations of sexual assault. And so Snyder and Tig and the crew got together and they green screened her into the film. So while she's talking to other people in the film, she's not really talking to them. She's just talking um, to nothing, or responding back to audio. So he had to splice her in, which honestly, there were some times, and that's only because, like I said, I love films, I love filmmaking. I think it's so fun. I like paying close attention to certain things. There were certain moments where I could tell that she was not, that it was like that she was green screened in there. I could tell because there was a little change in the camera where you can tell, where you can see all the people who were together in one room, and then here's Tig, kind of in her own separate thing. So there were a couple moments, just a couple, that I could tell. But for the most part, I think they did a really good job at putting her into the film and making it appear like she was in the film from jump, and that they were all working together from jump, and not that she was spliced in later. So I will say I wanted to save that for the last because it's big kudos to the talent behind that. Um, the cinematographers and editors who really did something there. Um, really cool. Uh, and for the most part, I think Tig had the whole vibe of what the characters whole vibe is, like badass but kind of funny. Um, oh, I forgot Dieter. My favorite character was Dieter, who was our locksmith, and oh my god, every time he screamed, I laughed like a hyena. That actor was really, really good. So I really try to end these off with positive notes because I don't ever want to always just end with negativity. Ultimately, if I had to give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, or if I gave it from like A to F, I would say it's right here. So it's like it's okay. It can go either way depending on who watches it. Some people are probably gonna love it. Some people are like, this ain't it. The reviews for the most part, pretty good, like in the mid range, 6.1, 60% on Rotten Tomatoes type of scenario. If I was giving it an A to F, I would have to unfortunately say a C plus, and I'm adding the plus for some of the things I mentioned, like the effects and Tig Notaro being spliced in and all the work that went in there, and some of the music choices and the cast. The reason I'm giving it a plus is because it's almost to a B. If not for it being too long, and if not for me not understanding what the commentary was, and if not for me just not caring that much about this story that's been done 100 times over and it wasn't done very well, if not for those three very big things to me, I would have given it a B. But because of those things, I have to keep it at a C plus. So we're gonna say it's C plus. That's what it is. Oh my god, I kept this under 30 minutes. Thank goodness. Okay. So yeah, thank you so much to listening. Excuse me, for listening to my unsolicited opinions. This is Tehn, aka Test Reacts, Tenesani Suakashi Reacts, and I'll see you at the next review that I do, whenever that is. Bye. And remember, please stay gay.